Welcome to part 5 of our training. In this mission we will focus on the functionality of the RDI pulse Doppler radar fitted in the M-2000C. Please engage the autopilot now. Before we go into the details, first we need to make sure that it is ready to run. Remember that additional information about the functions of the radar will be covered in the campaign.
The first thing you need to do while you are still on the ground is switch the radar power selector to PCH position, which stands for préchauffage or warm-up. However, since we are already in the air, the radar by default is already in standby mode. Go ahead and turn it on by switching it to EM or emitting mode.
Now let's go through the different functions and modes of the radar. The first one is the ability to choose between the PPI and B-scope modes, which is purely a matter of preference. In PPI, the radar emitter is at the center of a circle, while the contacts are marked as points inside it. In B-scope, which is commonly used in US-built aircraft, the circle is flattened into a square with the bottom representing the emitter position. Go ahead and check the difference between the two modes. There is a contact flying directly in front of you, so you can use it as a reference. Press spacebar when ready to continue.
The switch on the bottom left of the panel will control the range which will be displayed on your VTB, starting from 5 nautical miles up to 320. Bear in mind that the effective range of the radar is around 65 miles, and the higher values would only be used for ground-controlled interception, or GCI. You can also increase or decrease the range by moving your TDC cursor to the top or to the bottom of the screen using the ROTAS command. Press spacebar when you are ready to continue.
The switch on the bottom right is your azimuth selector. It allows you to choose the horizontal aperture setting in which the radar will operate. 15, 30 or 60 degrees, which would give you the horizontal coverage of 30, 60 or 120 degrees respectively. Remember that in 30 and 60 degree arc, you can move the antenna left and right. Go ahead and check this function. Press spacebar when ready to continue. Just above the azimuth switch you will find the bar selector, governing the vertical aperture settings. Unlike the azimuth, which is given in degrees, this one is set in number of bars, 1, 2 or 4. Each bar equals around 3 degrees, giving you the vertical aperture between 3 and 12 degrees depending on the setting. It is easiest to imagine a number of horizontal bars placed one above another in front of your plane, that the antenna will follow going from the bottom to the top in search for contacts. You can also move the antenna up and down to search for targets which may be way above or below you. Go ahead and test it now. Remember that the higher aperture will give you a wider search cone, but also increase the time it takes to complete the entire sweep. The current bar setting is displayed next to the green ladder on the left side of your radar screen. The longer line also shows you the angle of your antenna. Press the spacebar when ready to continue. Immediately to the left of the bar switch you will find the pulse repetition frequency, or PRF selector. It governs the number of radar pulses transmitted each second and has 3 settings: high, interleaved and low. Each of the settings has its advantages and limitations. In high PRF setting, your radar will work as a normal Doppler radar, which means using maximum range, around 65 nautical miles. It is good in detecting targets that are below you, and it allows both track-while scan and single target track mode for weapons guidance. The cons are that it is very susceptible to notching, and it will reject the low velocity targets. Low PRF is quite the opposite. It is good for air-to-air lookup and finding low-velocity targets due to the fact that there is no Doppler filtering in this mode. However, it has poor air-to-air look-down capability. It gets a lot of ground clutter. You cannot lock any targets and it has limited range. around 25 nautical miles. It would be best employed to detect a target that is beaming you. One more thing, the contacts in this mode are displayed as squares on your radar screen. Interleaved, or ENT, tries to get the best of both modes, having pretty good detection capability and ability to attain a lock in track-while scan mode at 20 miles or less, but not to guide weapons. It still fares poorly against slow-moving targets, though, and has limited range, up to 4-5 nautical miles. That covers the basics of the radar use. We will talk about the air-to-air combat in another mission, where we will also cover the close combat mode. Before we move on to practical training, let's quickly go through one more important feature, the IFF system. Press spacebar when ready to proceed. The IFF panel is located on the right console. In order to make it work, you should choose the IFF code mode. The default for most missions would be 4, unless stated differently in the briefing. Next, dial the 4-digit code given to you by the mission planner. Finally, switch the IFF into the cons mode by turning the knob twice. It will interrogate the entire search area. There should be 2 contacts around 30 miles ahead of you. Set up your IFF, and once you see both of them on your VTB, press the IFF interrogation switch. You will notice that the contact on the left has a small green diamond displayed next to it. It means that this is a friendly aircraft. If you lock it, you will also see a letter A for Ami, friend, on your HUD, and double vertical line on both sides of the locked target on your radar screen. The contact to the right did not change after being interrogated, which means that there is a high likelihood of it being a bandit. However, normally this should be confirmed by your AMC before you are cleared to engage. Press spacebar when ready to proceed. Alright, time to learn more about the information displayed on the radar screen. Turn towards waypoint 2, where you should be able to find 2 friendly M-2000Cs flying directly towards you at Angel Stood 5. Press spacebar when you spot them on your VTV, but do not lock them yet. Good. Without a lock, you can tell the rough distance and bearing to contact by looking at its position on the screen. The only other piece of information which you are given is the relative speed in Mach. If it's positive, it means that the target is closing. If negative, it means that it's getting away from you. Now go ahead and lock one of them in the track-while scan mode. Press spacebar when you are ready. In this mode, you are given more information about the tracked target, though you can still see other contacts on your radar scan. The data displayed in the upper row of the screen, from left to right, is target speed in Mach, heading, relative speed, and altitude in hundreds of feet. When ready, press the lock button again to go into the single target track, Press spacebar when you are ready to proceed. In STT, your radar will display only the currently locked contact, providing you with information only about it. This mode allows you to guide your Super 530 missiles. When you look at the locked target, you will notice a short green line extending from it. It is showing the contact's current heading in relation to your position. So if it is pointing away from you, it means that you are looking at the tail of your target. Alright, time to put the theory to practice. You will find different kinds of friendly airplanes and bogies at waypoints 4 to 6, flying various patterns and at different altitudes. Use different settings of the radar to locate them. In F10 radio menu, you will find basic information about the targets you are looking for. Good luck. This concludes this part of training.